Let's go live to Melbourne. The opposition leader Peter Dutton is speaking to the media today.
These 2,800 people, but people and their families, and it's a broader symptom, though, of what's going on in the community at the moment. As the Telstra CEO pointed out, it's a tough economic environment out there at the moment, and it's deteriorating. The budget, according to every credible economic commentator, has put upward pressure on interest rates, or at least is going to keep interest rates for higher for longer. And now the Prime Minister is talking about going to an early election before those interest rate rises take place and people's power prices continue to go up. We saw today from AEMO, the energy regulator, a very stark warning to the government that unless you get the energy picture right, we're going to end up with higher electricity costs and blackouts and brownouts. And it seems to me that Anthony Albanese's had the advice now for the last two reports at least, that if they don't make investments into the energy network, if they don't get it reliable, it's obvious to all Australians that this government is now sleepwalking toward an energy crisis. But the problem is that the energy crisis created by Anthony Albanese, the bill for that is going to fall to families and small businesses. And at the moment, so many of them just can't afford every line item in their budgets. And it's terrible news, as I say, in relation to Telstra losing 2,800 jobs and all of those individual people who are impacted. But there are thousands of Australians in that situation at the moment right across the economy, particularly in smaller businesses and retail, and they just can't cope with the huge costs applied to them under this government. In relation to migration, we know that the Prime Minister's Big Australia policy is going to make it harder for people to get into a house. And under my leadership, I want to make sure that we can have a better Australia, not Anthony Albanese's bigger Australia, because a bigger Australia means higher prices for everything, and it also means it's much, much harder to get into housing. The policy that we announced allows us to put in place arrangements which will see 40,000 homes become available in the first 12 months, and Michael will talk a little bit more about that in a second. But we need to make sure that at this time, when our country needs support, the government's providing that support, and at the moment, they've failed the test at every turn. So I'm going to ask Sarah to say a few words, and then Michael, and then I'm happy to take some questions.